We're going to draw the transparent sphere today. I already have a line drawing, and the line drawings I have the shadow already plotted, also the core already plotted, and then also the reflections of the horizon plotted, and then this is the highlight. So we're going to start with the 10% marker, pressing it down firmly on the page, and just go over, leaving out the highlight area. So press it down firmly. And shade to about halfway between the highlight and the core. Then I'm going to use the 20% marker. That goes from here all the way to the core. So always remember to press it down firmly and then not lifting the marker up constantly. Then I'm going to use a 30% marker going from the core all the way to the edge. So this is 30%. What this will do is that it gives you the core, and then that will makes the drawing look more three-dimensional. And then I'm going over the core with the 20% marker. Again, this will soften the core. So it gives you a really nice transition. And the next I'm going to use the 30% one more time, just to darken the core slightly. And this will grade it out so that makes the core just a touch darker. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is to do the shadow. So the shadow should go from dark on the outside to lighter values on the inside. So I'm using a 30% to start with. And drawing it not all the way to the edge. So just leaving it off the edges. Then on the outside, so do the outside first, because the outside needs to be slightly darker. So using a circular motion, once again, press the marker tips firmly on the paper This will give you a really nice gradation. Since the shadow is a little bit darker on the outside, so I'm switching to 40%, pressing it firmly and darkening the outside. And then go back to the 30% to blend it back smoothly. So it gives you a nice gradation. So I already indicated where the reflection of the horizons should be. So this is the 30% marker. Accelerate the marker tip so I get a gradation right away. So accelerate the marker tip. So if the marker bleeds a little bit, that's okay. I'm just going to use the marker to clean the edges, to clean up the edges, touch. Okay. Then I'm going to start building up just a little bit of darker value right here. Slightly darker values for the shadow, slightly darker values for outside of the shadow here as well. Also, this gives me a really good opportunity to clean up the edges. Accelerate the marker tip so it gives you a really good gradation right away. So I'm making the shadow just a touch darker than the sphere. So the shadow just a touch darker than the sphere. And so going back in and then just also darken the reflection of the horizon a touch, very little. Also right here, darken the core just a little bit. So the reflections on the outside curved surface usually is a little bit darker. So I'm going to use the 30%, darkening the outside just a touch more. So this is the reflection. This is also reflection. This is also reflection. Next, I'm going to put in the reflection of the sky tone. So for the reflection of the sky tone, I'm going to start with 10% and And then darkening, so this is going to be the darkest part of the sky. So I'm going to wet this area with the 10% marker. I'm going around the highlight area. So this is a reflection of the sky. So going from 10% to 20. To 30%. So this is the darkest part of the sky. So I'm gradually build up. Leaving out the highlight area. Also, I will use this opportunity to put just a little bit of reflection on the outside of the sphere. This is just a simple indications of reflection pattern. And then also this will give me a really good opportunity to clean up the edges. This is 40%. Then blend it with 30. Next I'm going to use the 50% marker, adding more reflection pattern on the outside edges. Adding more reflection pattern. I'm going to further darken the outer edges of the shadow. And I'm using a 30% to blend, smooth out the marker. Next, I'm going to use a little bit of white paint to clean up the edges. Also, white paint, clean up this edge. The marker bleed out just a touch, so I'm going to clean it up using the white paint. Okay. And I also can add in, using the white paint, to add in some reflection patterns on the outside edge. Enhance the read of the reflection of the horizon. Reflection pattern here. Also a little bit of reflection pattern here. Reflection. Also reflection. I can also clean up the edges of the highlight area. Reflection. And you can see there's some highlight happening right here. So I'm going to add in some highlight. Also add in highlight right here as well.